A mere week ago, WWE was riding high after a mega successful Royal Rumble at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Indiana wants me, and WWE fans from all over the area wanted to be there to witness the grand event that is the Royal Rumble. And then WWE continued to ride that gigantic wave of Crimson momentum right to Monday Night Raw. Speaking of Crimson, it's always Raw when you get too much Crimson. Anyway, that being said, they were absolutely just riding high. They're heading towards the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. And WWE talents were wringing their hands and saying, oh boy, what are we going to be doing when the granddaddy of them all, WWE WrestleMania, takes place in Las Vegas? What are we going to be doing? Hunter, what are we going to be doing? Fast forward to Friday, and Triple H is sitting there talking to people from Endeavor, Nick Khan and otherwise, and said, hey, you know what? We're doing really, really goddamn well. We got a great roster. We got people we can implement. We've got people that we haven't even used on TV in a while. We could implement them. And Endeavor's ears perked up and said, yeah, people that you haven't used on TV in a while. You have so many people under contract. Release a bunch of them. And Triple H said, we just had a successful Royal Rumble. We are riding high as far as profits. And I don't care. Get rid of some people. Time to play the release game. Oh boy, I'm John Rhythm with my real honest thoughts on the WWE releases for 2025 Round 1, or Part 1, whatever. Look, this happens every goddamn year. You got talents that get released, some that haven't been on TV for a while, some of you question why they were signed in the first place, and no doubt there are going to be other releases, probably sometime after WrestleMania. This is going to happen. You can't have the roster stay the same. It's going to have to go through a state of flux. You're going to have times where it's not going to be easy and you have to release some people. And I never wish for people to lose their jobs. I hope every single town I'm going to mention here land on their feet, or in the case of one of them, maybe goes into retirement and just lives out their days. But that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments and let me know where you think these talents will land. But let's just have a little bit of, graciousness for what they, put their bodies through, entertain us, and understand that these talents do deserve to, earn a really good living. Whatever they want to do. If they want to stick to wrestling, great. If they want to, find another endeavor, not Endeavor the company, but that being a TKO, whatever. Whole point is, let's wish them nothing but the best. So now I'm going to talk about Cedric Alexander. Please sign Cedric. Please sign Cedric. That man had been there for about 8.5 years. After having a tremendous showing in the Cruiserweight Classic, the Please Sign Cedric chance, it was a big deal, and he got signed. And you know what? The Cruiserweight division admittedly wasn't the worst idea at first, but then they gimmicked it up, and they didn't give it the proper attention it deserved, and it fell by the wayside. Cedric, the stuff of the Hurt Business, that kind of stuff. Cedric has bounced around a bunch. He's talented and, really should have been utilized quite a bit better over the last couple of years. The last time I remember seeing him, he was doing some vignettes with Ashante D. Adonis or whatever the fuck they're calling him now. I don't really care because watching NXT weekly is very difficult for me because of a few things, the cartoonish bullshit and the fact that Booker T is still allowed to play commentary. That being said, back to Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander hadn't been seen on TV for a while. A good goddamn while. I can't remember the last time I saw him even in a clip that NXT or WWE's Twitter put up. Cedric, there was no doubt that Cedric is going to kill it wherever the hell he wants to go. I wish the company had utilized him better. But that being said, if you're not going to utilize some people, maybe you need to let him go and bring him back in a couple years or whatever it is with Cedric. Very good. Still got years left. Can't wait to see what else he does. I'm a big fan of Cedric's work. He's got a ceiling, but he's really talented. Now we get to Sonya Deville, who apparently just celebrated 10 years with WWE, and about that didn't work. After basically being pretty much, I believe, the first openly lesbian WWE talent. I mean, there are others, obviously, that, have been there before, but none that were open. And Sonya, mainly the reason I'm glad she was able to stick around longer was because of the absolute bullshit. That monster that was stalking her, that guy that deserves absolutely not one moment of peace, deserves to be locked up for life or executed one way or the other. She did start out as Darius something. I'm trying to remember. I don't exactly remember. But then she became Sonya Deville. And look, she was in Absolution. That was a bust, mainly because Paige's whittle swinky neck couldn't actually stand the pressure. I'd feel bad, except she's made bad decisions, so I don't really care. But that being said, Sonya, talented, looks great. She does look great. She did great as the SmackDown GM, I believe, or GM assistant, or whatever it was. She looks great in a suit. She can cut a pretty good promo. And again, I'm glad after that bullshit stalking stuff that she was around for a while. And they tried with her. They really did try with her. I just don't think the skills were ever up to snuff, and maybe she can, go to TNA. She can maybe go to Japan, this kind of stuff. Whatever she can do. She spent 10 years in WWE. Went through a lot of changes, a lot of bullshit with the stuff I talked about. And I wish her nothing but the best, because I am a big fan of Sonya Deville, but I have to be honest. Skills-wise, I don't know if it was ever in the cards for her to be a single star. Her being in a team with Shayna and, Zoe, it was a choice, but it wasn't exactly the best name, the Pure Fusion Collective, I believe. Many were just calling them, or Mia Yim started calling them the Stud Line, which was hilarious. But yeah, Sonya just celebrated a decade with WWE, and then they do this. I mean, I guess. I'm just disappointed, though, because I think Sonya's I think Sonya can be beneficial to a company. They just need to team her with the right people. Maybe she can show off her MMA-inspired stuff in other promotions. Whatever she wants to do, I wish her nothing but the best. So now we get to the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, and why were these guys signed in the first place? Like, there were two big lads that beat up DIY, captured the tag titles. They had Paul Ellering with them. In fact, I'm just going to lump Paul Ellering here. I love Paul Ellering. He's fantastic as far as, being the manager of the greatest tag team of all time, the Legion of Doom and the Road Warriors. My opinion, and my opinion holds a lot of water, like Hoover Dam with a crack in it. Nope, it's pouring out, and well, oh my God, we're dead. No, nevertheless, Paul Ellering, at least when he was the manager of AOP, as Derb said, at first it made sense because you have somebody that was legit. The problem is they kept getting injured, then they got released, then they tried that bullshit other promotion. It was like 5-Star Wrestling or whatever the fuck it was called. It wasn't 5-Star Wrestling, but it was like that, and that idea didn't work. It failed miserably because they either didn't have the money or they just grifted people. I don't really goddamn know. The whole point is AOP, they weren't really missed when they were released the first time, and then apparently were hired back and had been on the payroll for a year, if not more, before they were even brought back to television. And they were part of this stuff with Karrion Kross and the Final Testament, which is stupid. It's really fucking stupid. And the Authors of Pain did absolutely nothing. They would just, flop around the ring. They weren't any fucking good. And the fact that they managed to get a healthy paycheck for a year plus, and they didn't train, they didn't get any better. I mean, yeah, sometimes you're just not going to be able to do anything other than make the best out of a bad situation. But good God, these guys were shit. I don't know what the fuck you can do with them. They could show up in AEW. I mean, good God, that would be a disaster. These guys probably need to find something else to do because they just were never any fucking good. Like, again, lousy ass team. I've never understood the fascination with them. I mean, at first, 2017, maybe even 2018, you could sort of get it. But that seems like a lifetime ago, because it almost was. And especially in the land of professional wrestling, with everything being overexposed and people being on television every single goddamn week. But Paul Ellering, I mean, if you want a wrestling mind, you would want to keep him around. I don't know why they didn't want to keep him around. Maybe it was budget cuts or whatever. But Ellering, Ellering can be beneficial, but I guess they just didn't see the point in him. The man can still command a good price. Hell, maybe TNA will bring him in. He can manage some people and actually do something and say something. And not post weird shit on Twitter. Seriously, what the fuck? Go look at Paul Ellering's Twitter and tell me if you know what the fuck he's on about, or if he doesn't seem like an old man that's crying out for help. So now we get to Blair Davenport, former Bea Priestley. They had her in NXT UK for a bit, then they brought her over to NXT when they dissolved NXT UK. And they brought her to the main roster. They aligned her with another one that got released, and Alba Fire. And that didn't really go anywhere, and then they stopped featuring her. I mean, they weren't even really featuring her much anyway after calling her up, and I was like, okay. They called her up to SmackDown. They didn't really feature her much afterwards. And then they decided to release her. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I've never really seen the appeal of, Blair or Bea Priestley. I saw some of her work in Stardom. She was okay. Her little brief stint in AEW wasn't all that good. It'd be a little awkward if she went back there, considering... Will Ospreay is there. I guess her and Britt don't get along, but, Britt's attitude is a whole nother story, but, yeah, should they have maybe given her more of a chance? Okay, you could argue that, but be honest. Was Blair ever really that good in the ring? She's got options. She'd go back to Japan. AEW could bring her in, but it would be awkward. TNA, they could boost her Knockouts division. God forbid if she goes to the NWA. There are people in the NWA that are talented. They just need to get the fuck out of the NWA. But Blair, I was never that, really appealed to by Blair. She never really made me think, oh yeah, I need to watch her. She had that match with Gigi Dolan. Actually, a series of matches that were probably some of the worst things I've seen in my goddamn life, like the Lights Out match, where, yeah, they should have turned the lights out and kept turning them off until that entire concept fell into a black hole, along with Booker T's commentary. That being said, Blair, is what it is. Isla Dawn I'm disappointed by, because, yes, Isla Dawn is never going to be Mildred Burke or an absolute, great queen of the ring as far as in-ring skill. But she improved. She changed her look up from, just wearing like some kind of weird, I don't know, not even a bodysuit-like thing, but just being kind of a standard UK indie woman talent, and became the White Witch and then the Dark Witch and that kind of stuff. And teaming with Alba Fire helped, because Isla got the character work down. To me, she got the character work down. I liked watching both of them work. I thought Isla could hit some good moves. And it does not hurt that Isla is a fucking smoke show, by the way. It does not hurt that. But she also is somebody I think that could be beneficial. And if the UK Indies, fine, okay, you could put her back in the UK Indies. You could ever go to Japan, she could team up with some other people. You could do a few things and actually make certain things work. But I don't know if you necessarily can get a singles run out of her. Though I think what you can get is you can get another one's opinion. And you can get somebody else to weigh in about Isla Dawn, because you liked Isla Dawn. You liked Isla Dawn. Didn't you like Isla Dawn? You thought that Isla Dawn was really neat. Oh, yes, you did. You told me you did. You told me you liked Isla. And yeah, I think that Isla can do some good, and she looks great. She fucking looks great. She could be beneficial to many companies. AEW could bring her in. She could be very good for their division. Hey, it could be the White Witch against Timeless Toni Storm. What do you think of that? What do you think? I bet that would be good, wouldn't it? What's wrong with you? Why can't you just weigh in on this stuff? Because you wanted to talk about this. I told you Isla Dawn got released and you got sad. You got that same look on your face where you're hanging your head. Okay, this is the producer. This is Sir, by the way. Adopt, don't shop. Okay. Isla Dawn, though, in all seriousness, I do hope that she lands on her feet. I like Isla. Again, doesn't have to be the absolute best in the ring. The character work will take her far. And, yeah, the aforementioned smoke show looks. Doesn't hurt. Let's see what else she does. Luke Gallows. It's the third time this man has been released by the company. Or maybe fourth, actually, now that I think about it, because he was fake Kane. And I don't remember if he was released and actually came back, or if he was just sent down to developmental. But then, remember, he was part of the Straight Edge Society. Then he got released. Then during that time, he proceeded to have a match so goddamn bad. Antonio Inoki came out and was absolutely fucking pissed. Maybe that was in the earlier 2000s, and I'm just losing it. I mean, I'm trying to remember the timeline, but man, he wasn't very goddamn happy, was he? Luke Gallows is a fine big man, but, I mean, realistically, did anybody miss them when they left before? And them, I mean him and Carl Anderson. In fact, I'll just include Carl. You better hope your hot Asian wife continues to be hot because you ain't got no skills yourself, Anderson. Luke Gallows, whatever. Go back to Japan. Maybe Carl could go back to Japan. You know, because Carl was never Openweight champion, then left them and went back to WWE. They got big paychecks for a number of years. A couple years at least. I mean, 2, maybe 3. I'm trying to remember about when they came back. And old Triple H was trying to make good because they got released before and stuff like that. And yeah, it was bullshit that they got released during the pandemic. That was. But I wonder if Carl Anderson is going to complain about this release like he did the last goddamn time. We're never going back. And then you did, because the money talked. Now, I don't blame people. Take the goddamn money while you're at it, because Carl Anderson is about the same age as I am. He's got way more kids than I do. And he's also about as bald as I am. He also has the personality of dead dishwater. How you have live dishwater, I don't know. Let's just move on. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows were lucky that they got a chance at a really big company because, to be perfectly honest, yeah, they were part of the Bullet Club. Whoop-de-doo. Chase Owens is part of the Bullet Club. That doesn't really mean anything. Chase, I'll pretend you said 18. Owens, allegedly. So yeah, Gallows and Anderson, go back to Japan. Go somewhere. Watch AEW sign them. Tony would be dumb enough to sign them, even though they don't really have any value in 2025. Giovanni Vinci is done. Part of Imperium, then became a male model thing, and then seemed like they were going to give him a push. Let it play out. He was losing quick matches, and then it played out. Played him right out the goddamn door. He's skilled, but I just don't know what you do with this guy. I don't know. Wish him nothing but the best, but I mean, I think he hit his ceiling in WWE. Nevertheless, that is all for the releases. I decided to bring the producer on just for fun, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rethlin, and I'll see you soon.